So I almost forgot to film this video, but Court reminded me. So let's dive right into my mid-year freakout. I think I made one last year. I can't remember. I know I've made at least one. This is BookTube, so most of you know what a mid-year freakout tag is, but I'll just give a brief summary. This is just the realizing the year is halfway over and going through all the books you've enjoyed so far, what you're looking forward to, stuff like that. So I'll just read the questions out as we go through and let's dive straight into it. Question 1. Best book you've read so far in 2026. I'm going to say Legend by David Gemmell, but when we get deeper into these questions, you'll see that it could have been two answers, so it's interchangeable with something else on this list. Legend was awesome. I assumed that it was going to be good, but I didn't realize it was going to be that good. It was such a fun ride. I just really enjoyed everything that was going on in it. I raved about it when I read it. It's really funny because I have read almost no fantasy this year, but I have at least 2 books on this list that are fantasy and are some of the best stuff I've read. So I don't know what that says. Maybe the fantasy I read early in the year was too good. So now everything else pales in comparison. But yeah, Legend is great. If you don't know about Legend, I don't know what to say. It's by David Gemmell. It's an incredibly popular action-oriented fantasy novel. There's 2 main characters. One is a younger dude and then one is a very old dude who is a legend among warriors. And it is about both of them participating in a last stand. A very epic last stand. David Gemmell said at the time that one of his big influences was his coworkers and how they talk to each other. So the dialogue feels very real. And then a lot of the prose style was inspired by Louis L'Amour. So you have this very epic feel to it because that's what Louis L'Amour wrote, was these epic heroic westerns. It's awesome. It ticks a ton of boxes for me. I really like it. But moving on. Number 2, best sequel you've read so far in 2026. That's 12 Months by Jim Butcher. The book was incredible. I mean, how far are we into the Dresden Files? And he just keeps getting better. Every single book has some writing aspect that Jim Butcher has leveled up. It's just crazy that he keeps doing it. 12 Months is just incredible. I can't really go into it too deep. It's like the 18th book in the series. So if you haven't read the Dresden Files, you need to try them. And if you have, well, then you know what I'm talking about with 12 Months. Number 3, new releases you haven't read yet but want to. I have read 5 books that were published this year, which is a personal record. There's like nothing else already released this year that I want to read, unless there might be something I'm not aware of that I want to read in 2026. Reading 5 books the same year they were published is just unprecedented for me. So I'm not too worried about digging around for more stuff that was already published this year. But for question number 4, most anticipated release for the second half of the year, I am most excited for They Cry by Glenn Cook, which will be the new Black Company novel. Like I said, when I talked about Lies Weeping, this is part of a Pitiless Reign, which is like a sub-series within the Black Company, and it is a sequel to the original series. I'm so excited for it. Lies Weeping was awesome. It ended on such a crazy cliffhanger that I need They Cry to come out. I need it now. A quick aside, I just saw that the entire Black Company series is getting republished in like England and Australia and a couple of other places like that. I forgot what it's called. Glenn Cook's agent mentioned it in an email that he sent to someone on the Black Company subreddit. And it's like the United Kingdom and then some of the Commonwealth or former Commonwealth countries are getting a re-release of the series in really cool looking, I don't know if they're going to be paperbacks or hardcovers, but I want them. And also there is a new recording of the audiobooks. The first one's already out. I really want to try it. I love the narrator for the Black Company series, but I'm always interested in seeing if someone else can do something interesting with the same text. That was just a little Glenn Cook enjoyer aside, and let's get back to the questions. Number 5, biggest disappointment. This sucks to say. It is most of the Roger Zelazny novels that I have read this year. Isle of the Dead, My Name is Legion, The Dream Master, Doorways in the Sand, Today We Choose Faces, and Deus Irae were all mid at best to bad. I did not enjoy them. There's aspects of each one that I liked, like the final story in My Name is Legion, because it's really just a fix-up of 3 short stories. That one's good. Isle of the Dead was better than I expected. It was fun, but disjointed. Like I said when I reviewed it initially, it felt truncated. The Dream Master was weird. I've heard that the novella it's based on is better. It doesn't have any of the pacing issues that the full-size novel does. Stories in the Sand was nonsensical. Today We Choose Faces was more nonsensical, and Deus Irae is a good book that I don't like. It's been a very rough year for my Roger Zelazny reading, but I'm not giving up. I'll probably read another one in July. I didn't read any in June. I had other stuff going on. But number 6, biggest surprise. That would be The Anubis Gates by Tim Powers. Now, this could have been the best book I've read so far in 2026, and Legend could have been my biggest surprise. Samwise told me that I should check out The Anubis Gates, and wow, am I glad I listened to him. That book is incredible. I love every aspect of it. It is a time travel novel about a guy having to deal with Egyptian wizards in the early 1800s. Yeah, it's very strange in the best ways possible. Tim Powers' writing is incredible. I love his prose. I love his dialogue, his action scenes. Like, I can just list off all the things that you're supposed to have in a book, and I like all of it. His pacing is good. The only aspect of the story that didn't vibe well with my brain was when he was talking about English literature, which is just my fault because I am uncultured. I can't hold that against the book. I still enjoyed those scenes. Yeah, The Anubis Gates by Tim Powers is so good. I highly recommend it to anyone. I guarantee it will be in my top 5 for the year. Number 7, favorite new author. It's Lawrence Block. I'd never read any of his work before, and as of now, I've read Sins of the Fathers, writing the novel From Plot to Print to Pixel, Burglars Can't Be Choosers, Telling Lies for Fun and Profit, and The Thief Who Couldn't Sleep. They're all great. Lawrence Block's writing is so fun. I have not found a bad book from him yet. I love the way he writes his stories. I love the way he talks about writing his stories in things like writing the novel From Plot to Print and Telling Lies for Fun and Profit. They are a joy to read. You can tell from the way he talks about storytelling that he loves it, which is great. Of course he loves it. It's his job, and he's getting paid to tell lies. It's awesome. I've really enjoyed the novels. The Sins of the Fathers is the first Matt Scudder novel, I believe. It's so good. It's very dark, very 1970s New York City. The same thing goes for Burglars Can't Be Choosers. Bernie Rodenbar is awesome. He is a thief that gets framed for murder, and he has to use his thief skills to clear his name. It's awesome. And The Thief Who Couldn't Sleep is hilarious. It's about a dude who got like a bit of shrapnel through his head in the Korean War, and it killed the sleep center of his brain. So he does not need to sleep. When he rests, he literally just lays there and just like zones out, doesn't sleep, does it for like an hour or two, and then feels as if he's had a full night's sleep. It's crazy. He's obsessed with lost causes. One of them is getting one of the Stuarts back on the throne in England, and just weird, stupid stuff like that. And the whole story revolves around him trying to get into Turkey because he knows where there's a big stash of gold. And this is in like the first chapter that you find out about this. So Lawrence Block's writing is amazing. Anyone out there who is interested in writing needs to read one of his novels and read one of his nonfiction books about writing. He is like the master of starting a novel, just hooking you in and then never letting go. So I highly recommend it to anyone that wants to expand on their craft. Now, newest fictional crush. I have no crush. My heart belongs to a very special person. So let's move on. Number 9, newest favorite character. That's going to be Andrew Grayson from the Frontline series by Marco Close. It's military science fiction. Andrew Grayson, it's all from his POV. He is awesome. He is a cog in the machine and knows it. And being able to see through his eyes in these first 2 novels has been so cool. I cannot wait to read the rest. My favorite parts of these military science fiction books are the quiet moments where he's not doing military stuff and there's barely any science fiction. So much of it is about poverty and the way the country that he lives in, which is the North American Commonwealth, how they subjugate these poor people and put them in positions where they are forced to join the military or get jettisoned off into space to a colony. It's fascinating. I'm really enjoying every aspect of these novels. But wow, do I enjoy the quiet moments that don't involve any military science fiction at all. Number 10, books that made you cry. The Lonely Silver Rain by John D. MacDonald on my reread. All the new stuff I've read this year hasn't really hit me that hard, but from the second that The Lonely Silver Rain starts, I was just upset because I know it's the last book in the series and it's so good. I mean, John D. MacDonald was firing on all cylinders while he was writing that thing. It was such a joy to read the first time, and an even bigger joy the second time. And it has some of the most emotional moments in the series. I have this gut-wrenching feeling because I'm having to deal with this being the last book in the series and knowing I don't have any more. And I have these incredibly emotional moments that are just tearing me apart. It's so good. The series is just incredible. Number 11, books that made you happy. It's Jimmy the Kid by Donald E. Westlake. The Dortmunder novels are incredible. This book had me laughing the entire time I listened to it. I was in like a rough patch of reading when I started it, and it was such a joy that I had no choice but to laugh and be happy by the time it was over. It's so good. Anyone out there that is even remotely interested in crime fiction, especially capers, you need to read the Dortmunder series. At least give the first one or two a try. I say one or two because these books are tiny. I know a lot of y'all out there are reading chonky fantasy, and so, the first 3 books in this series are smaller than your average fantasy novel. Now, when it comes to number 12, most beautiful book you've bought so far this year or received, I've bought a fair bit of books this year, as you can tell from all of my book haul videos, but I think the most beautiful one is beautiful for its simplicity and the ephemera that came with it, and that's The Deep Blue Goodbye by John D. MacDonald. This is just a very plain, clean, naked hardcover, and it has a little pamphlet in it, and this is part of the Best Mysteries of All Time series from Impress Mystery, which I think is Reader's Digest or something. I can't remember. It is a Reader's Digest. I had to look it up. Yeah, this thing is just so cool. Just a nice, clean, simple book. The little pamphlet has some info about John D. MacDonald, and in the back it talks about living on a houseboat. There's instructions on how to make Travis McGee's preferred adult beverage, which I will not drink because gin is disgusting. If I drink anything that Travis McGee enjoys, it's going to be a Mexican lager of some kind. But yeah, this book is beautiful, and also the book itself is amazing. So by far the most beautiful book I've gotten this year. So this last one, number 13, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? I don't need to read anything. My TBR is almost exclusively vibes. I do not have a reading project this year, and I just want to read as many of the Trace novels by Warren Murphy as I can in August, and I will be reading some Robert E. Howard for Sumerian September. I was slacking hard last year for Sumerian September. Crom should have struck me down. Beyond that, I don't have a lot of plans. I want to get a little more nonfiction in my diet. I've been slacking on that in the last month. Maybe I can get back into fantasy. The genre is essentially dead for me this year, and I don't like that. I want good fantasy books in my life. The problem is I have DNF, 9 fantasy novels this year. And I don't want this to sound like I've had a rough reading year. This year has been awesome. And because I don't have a project and I don't have anything I have to read, I can just be very ephemeral with my reading choices, and it's such a great feeling. Sometimes it sucks because I think, I need to lock in and really read some of the stuff that I've been wanting to read. But then again, I'm like, why do I have to do that? I don't have to do that. I can read whatever I want, whenever I want. For example, I just started a new Florida mystery series. It's like maybe crime. I don't know. It all takes place in Key West. It was incredible. I'll be talking about that in my wrap up. So I'm not going to get any further into it. But reading is supposed to be fun. If having a regimented list is fun to you, then awesome. And, I might be doing something like that later in the year because I've realized I need to read the sequel to Hyperion because I really want to. But if I'm not in the mood for it, I'm not going to read it. So that's not I have to read by the end of the year. Do I want to read more Sun Eater? Yes. Yet again, do I have to? No. So there's nothing. I don't have any buddy reads lined up. I would love some buddy reads. But yeah, I don't really have anything for this. And so this has been a great year so far of reading. I hope that your year has been just as good. Let me know in the comments what your favorite book so far this year is. And is there anything you really want to read in the second half of 2026? Thanks for watching. And with that, I'll see you next time.